Hey y'all, Bridget Bartlett here with Vision Marketing and Design, and today we are live inside of our team training where we are live Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So today I'm going to show you how to set up your brand for success. This is actually part two of a four-part series, so definitely go back and watch that. You can also access our knowledge base for this training as well. If you're not a registered member, you can actually register for free at bridgetbartlett.com to get access to our knowledge base. So today I'm inside of Bluehost. Okay. Now, the thing that we need to do after we have chosen our brand colors, logo, we've optimized our social media platforms. That's what we talked about yesterday. Today, we need to create a system that's going to manage our leads so that we can turn them into sales. Okay. Now, to be able to do that, we need to purchase a domain name, a custom email address, and we're going to set up our system. Okay, now to purchase your domain name, you can use Bluehost, Namecheap, GoDaddy, any other registrar that you choose. So we are today going to use Bluehost. It is my favorite registrar, and I can create unlimited emails within my account, so that this is definitely my preferred method, right? So inside of Bluehost, you want to go to domains, and you can click here to purchase domains. Okay. Now, the first thing that I want to do is choose anytime I'm trying to narrow down a domain name, because likely you're not going to find the domain that you originally wanted in the first place, right? So for this business, remember we talked about yesterday how this business that we are creating a brand for in this training is actually a third brand that I have that is focused on Christian. I didn't know anything besides Christian when I was creating and purchasing the domain. But what I like to do is I like to use the first word. Okay, so I'm just going to type in Christian because I knew that word is what I wanted in the domain. Okay, so you can see here that if I chose Christian, nothing is available. Okay, it says taken over here. I could choose Christian.accountants, but you can see that's very expensive. Okay, most domain names are about $10. But if they are in high demand, you'll see that they are actually very expensive. Like Christian.casino is almost $140. Okay, so that can get very, very expensive. So the next thing I like to do is add another word there. Now, my whole brand, everything, I'm vision marketing and design. So my agency in our software reseller program is my vision agency. Everything is vision. Okay, and I had a health brand. It was Healthy Vision. Everything is vision. Okay, so here now I have decided I'm going to do Christian Vision. Now you also have to be careful about making it too long, okay? Especially because we're going to be creating professional email addresses, meaning it's going to be a custom email for this domain. So it'll be like info@christianvision.com. So we want to make sure that it's not really, really long. Okay. I learned that when I chose the domain visionmarketinganddesign.com. I have always regretted that ever since I first created that. It's really, really long. So the shorter, the better. Okay. But make sure, obviously the branding is really important in your domain because it's really telling everyone about your business. Okay. You definitely want to try to choose the name of your business as the domain. So in this example, this business or this brand is called Christian Vision. Okay. So I can choose if it was available, .com, .net, .org. I could choose any of these that I wanted to. But I really wanted to, and I try to tell everyone to stay close to the .coms. Okay. It's easier for people to remember. So if I tell you go to christianvision.com to register, or even if I said go to christianvision.io, like this one down here, most people won't remember the .io, but they will remember .com. Okay. But you can see in this example, the .com is taken. Okay, so what I like to do at this point is I will put like my in front of it. So now I have my Christian Vision, and I can see now the options available for mychristianvision.com. It's only $13. Mychristianvision.net, and so on, right? But I didn't want to choose my because I wanted it to be more plural than that. So I chose the Christian Vision. Okay, so that's another example. You could choose my or the. I mean, there's many scenarios that you could choose from, but I'm going to choose the Christian Vision. Okay, now you can see it's taken because I've actually already purchased it. So what I'm going to do is now go back to my domains. Okay, so all you have to do, and let me just to clarify, to choose any of these domains, like if I chose my christianvision.com. If I chose this domain, all I need to do is just click here, add it to my cart, and then go through the checkout process. Okay, it's very simple. A lot of people want to know about the domain privacy. You don't have to have this, especially the main reason to have this is if you really have personal information, because you will get people like marketers and agencies who will reach out to you, because this does make the registrar or the owner of the domain, it does make it public. So if you choose this, it will make it not public. But if you do choose it, it will, if you do not choose it, it will be public to everyone, your information. But if you do choose it, they will make that private. Now, I use my business information when I am registering domains, so I have really no need for this. It's not really necessary. But again, you can choose whatever's best for you. I'm going to go ahead and remove this and go back to my domains, because you can see I've already purchased the christianvision.com. Okay. Now, once you have purchased this domain, the next thing that you need to do is create a professional email address. Okay, so I'm going to go now to email and office, and I want to now create an email address. I'm going to click here to have the, they have two options here. You can either use the Google Workspace, or you can use Bluehost. Just to explain, I do use Google Workspace, but the problem with this is that if you choose this and you add the domain there, it's a little bit of a process. It's not too complicated, but then you do have to add users to the workspace. If I want to create additional emails within this domain, it's going to cost me more money if I'm going through Google Workspace. Okay, so I really only have one domain that I use there for my Google Workspace, and then that is, that's just how it is, right? But when you use the Bluehost email, and on the plan that I'm on, you can create unlimited professional email addresses. Okay, but you do use like the webmail option, which is, it's a little bit generic, but you can always have it connected to your email account, okay, or your Gmail account rather. So that is the option, and that's, we have training about all of that in the knowledge base. So what I want to do now is I want to search for the domain. Okay, so you can see thechristianvision.com. I already have two email addresses here, but if I want to create a new one, I just want to click here to create, and I'm going to look for my domain, so I can actually just type it in here, the Christian Vision, and then I just want to put the username. So let's just say I wanted to create one for myself, so that I could send and receive emails from Bartlett at thechristianvision.com. Okay, and then I want to give myself a password, so we'll just say this one. And then when I click create, it's going to create the email address. I'm going to go ahead and just choose that. So now we've created the email address. And if I click here to check email, you'll see it's kind of funky. We have the round cube here. You can forward it here if you want to. You can configure it here. And this is really the information that you're going to use when you are connecting it to Gmail. Okay. So, or actually, let me go back here. Here we go. So let's go here. I went back too far. Okay, so and like I said, there is training for that. You want to do not here. You want to do here, right, where you configure the mail client, and then you go to Gmail, and then you enter in the information if you wanted it to go through that. Now, if I wanted it to be here, all I would need to do is select like Horde. You can see it's kind of funky here for some reason. Lately, it's been doing that, but it's really irrelevant. It's fine and usable. I think you just have to use round cube. There we go. So now you can see my webmail, and then if someone wants to log in, they have to log into like the webmail -box 567 for.bluehost.com. It's just really kind of yucky. So I definitely like to use Gmail for these emails, but you definitely could log in here and access all of your emails and all of that. Okay. So now the next thing, now we have created our domain and we have created our email address. Now we need to actually get our account set up. Okay. Before I go any further, I do want to say hello to Janai and Maria and Frankie who are watching on YouTube. Hello. So let's now dive into our account here. I've created a separate sub account for this brand, okay? Because remember, every time you create a new brand, it has to have a new sub account because all of the emails and everything are going to be sent by this brand's email address, okay? Now, the first thing I need to do when I'm setting up my account is I need to go to settings, okay? Now, of course, you want to fill in the address of your business and all of these things here, right? The next thing that you want to do is you want to go to email services. Now here you can see that I've already added a sending domain. Okay, now a sending domain is different from an email address. Okay, a sending domain is where the emails are going to be sent from. It is not the email address. This confuses a lot of people. Okay, but this is something that we need to set up now through Bluehost. Okay. So let me close out of this now and go back to Bluehost. I'm going to go back to my domain now, and we're going to get all of these records set up. So I'm going to go to Manage. And the very first thing that I want to do is get this set up, okay? So what I want to do is click Add Dedicated Domain. You can see I already have one here, and it's already activated. But to add a new one, all you need to do is click there to add a domain, and you want to give it a subdomain for the email sending address. On the other one, I choose office, but you could choose something like contact or email. So I'm going to choose email dot the Christian. Let me spell it right. ChristianVision.com. Okay. So once you have typed in the subdomain that you want to use, and like I said, it can be anything, but it does need to be the same root domain. Okay. Do not use a separate root domain from your email address that you just created. Okay. It needs to be a separate domain, or it needs to be the same domain, but a separate, subdomain here. So once you type that in there, you're going to click add and verify, and then it's going to give you a list of records. Now, this may be really intimidating for some people, but it's really just copying and pasting. Okay. So you can see here, we need to add a TXT record. Here's the host name. Here's the value. And you can tell that it's not verified yet. So we need to go now and add a TXT record. So we're going to go to the DNS manager. We're going to scroll down to where the TXT records are, and we're going to click to add a new record. Okay, so I'm just going to follow left to right. I'm going to highlight and copy this. I'm going to go back to Bluehost, and I'm going to paste that in there. Okay, now I need the value. I can copy all of this, and I'm going to go back to Bluehost, and I'm going to paste in the value. Okay, now you can make this anything you want. I usually choose 4 hours, and we're going to save. We just want to do the same thing to the rest of the list. So again, we're going to choose a TXT record. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go back here. We're going to add another TXT record. I'm going to paste in there. And now I need to add the value. So I'm going to copy, go paste the value. We're going to choose 4 hours and save. For the next one, this one's going to be a CNAME. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go back here. Instead of TXT, we're going to scroll up to CNAME. So I'm going to go ahead and paste that into the host record, and I'm going to copy this because that's the value, and we're going to go back here, paste the value. If you see that, it's just because the spaces, so we're going to eliminate those spaces until we get the green check mark, and 4 hours, and save. For this next one here, this is going to be an MX record. It's going to be a priority 10, and then we have the host name here. So let's now go back to Bluehost, and let's scroll down to MX record. We're going to add record. The priority is 10, just like it showed us. And the host record is this. And now we're going to add the value. So I'm going to go back now and paste the value. And then we're going to do 4 hours and save. Go back to our dashboard, and we have another MX record, because you can see it tells us right here. So we're going to add another MX record. This one is 10. and we're going to paste the value, and we are going to copy the paste the host name, and we're going to copy the values, and then we are going to paste that there and make it 4 hours. Okay, so now this does take a few minutes, especially if it's a brand new domain. And once you've entered all of this in, you want to click verify domain. Okay, now, like I said, it will take a few minutes. That's why I wanted to do this ahead of time, so you can always come back to it in a few minutes. But this will not be a working sending domain until you have verified this, and it'll say verified once it starts picking up the individual records here. Like, let's see. Of course, it's not doing now. But once it does, then you will see, like right now it says it's not verified. But once it does, you'll see this option here where it says it is verified. Okay. Now we have the email sending domain created, right, and connected here once it's verified. And the next thing we need to do is add a phone number. Okay, I've already added a phone number here, but it's really simple. All you need to do is go to the phone numbers, go to add a phone number, and then you want to put in the area code of the phone number that you want to use. So I'm going to type in 317, and it's going to give me now a list of all the phone numbers available. Okay, now it is going to be $1.15 for the phone numbers, or whatever price is here. It just depends. This is set by your agency. So you just want to choose the phone number that you want to select. And like if I click that there, then I click save, and then it's going to add that phone number. So now that is my business phone number. It is the phone number that I'm going to send and receive text messages from, and also make phone calls we can send and receive from this phone number. Okay, so now we have our domain name purchase, we have our email address created, we have our sending email address, sending email domain created and verifying. And now we have our business phone number. Okay, now the next step is we need to go to the domains. All right. Now you can see I've already connected these, but you'll also see that you actually, when you're working with the root domain, you need to add the regular root domain and then the www version of the domain. Okay. So what you want to do is click here to add new domain. And in this example, it is the Christian vision.com. So let me spell it right, of course. So all I want to do is type in my root domain, and you'll see here the instructions change. Okay, so it says make sure to have either an A record pointing here or a CNAME record pointing here. Okay, and it says for this in the domain. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to go to the A record, and we want to make sure that it's pointed to this. So let's go back to Bluehost. Let's go up to the A record, and you'll see that the little @ symbol is what we want to make sure that is pointed to this. Okay, so if it's pointing to something else, and you want your website to be hosted on HighLevel, then you need to make sure that these records are here. And so to do that, if I needed to edit this, I could just choose that option, or if I needed to add the option, I could just choose that option. You can either type in the domain or you can choose the @ symbol. But since we already have one, we don't need to do that. Okay, so now the main root domain is pointed to our account. Okay, so now we have one more step here. We need to add the www. All right, so what we want to do is we want to go back here. We're going to type in christianvision.com. And now we have the CNAME record, right? Because a CNAME is for a subdomain. A record is for the root domain. Okay, so you can see here, we need to make sure that we have www CNAME pointing to this record. So we want to go back to Bluehost, go to CNAMEs. You can see we already have a www, and it is pointing here. Okay, if I click here to edit, you'll see we just have www, and then the root or the points to the CNAME record that we have, and then also 4 hours. Okay, now when you have typed that in, and again, it needs to propagate, so it may take a few minutes, but when you've typed that in, you will see that it's going to look like this. It's going to ask you, what website do you want to connect it to? Okay. And then you're just going to choose from the drop-down menu if you have a website. If you don't, then you don't need to worry about it. Okay. The point of this is that we are just getting this set up so that when we do create our opt-in page or our website, we already have all of the records pointed here where we want it to go. Okay. Now, there is another step to this that I like to do anytime I'm setting up an account that I didn't do here because I'm going to do it with you, is to set up the membership area. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to go to sites, I want to go to memberships, and then go to settings. And I want to choose custom domains. Okay. Now this is for any courses that we provide inside the membership area. It's going to have its own custom domain. Okay. So to use this, if I wanted to create a completely separate domain, then I want to use the A record. For example, if I wanted to do training christianvalues.com, and then I could use the A record. But if I want to do training.thechristianvision.com, then I would want to use this. Okay, so I always like to use a subdomain for my membership areas. So I'm going to go ahead and use this, and we're going to create that together. So now I'm going to go to Bluehost, and we're going to, let me cancel all that. You can see the instructions say to add a CNAME record pointing here. So let's go back here now, and we're going to go to CNAME, and we're going to click here. And what do we want to call our membership area? We can say members. And then I'm going to point it here, and then we're going to choose 4 hours and save. Once we've added the record there now, just like all of the other records that we created, we need to now go back here, and we're going to type in members, because that's the what we just created, the Christian, I don't know why I'm having such a hard time writing this, Christian values, or christianvision.com. Okay, and now we're going to click save, and it hasn't recognized it yet. When it does, and of course, you know, like I said, it takes a few minutes, but when it does recognize it, it will say success, and it will add this here. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead, I'll just copy this so I don't have to write it again. But once it is all propagated, it will all be good. So let's go back now to the emails, just so I can walk you through this process because we didn't verify it. And let's see if it has already propagated. So let's go now back to dedicated domain, go to verify now, and it's going to try to pick up those records. So it did. You can see all of those changed to verify. And then when I click verify domain, now you'll see I have 2 different sending email addresses. Let's try this again. Do verify domain. There we go. So now we have the SSL that's issued. So now if I wanted to choose this one over this one, all I need to do is check that box. Okay. You can only have 1 email sending domain. All right. So now going back here, actually we already did that. Going back to our membership area, let's go ahead and click here. Let's type this in. And let's see if it recognized it. Okay, so now it says custom domain updated. So now all of the courses and anything that I give someone access to inside of our membership area, they will be going to members.thechristianvision.com to get logged in. Okay, so now we have our membership area set up. Now, quickly, what we can do, and I say quickly because I am taking into account that we just created this brand. We do not have a website yet. It usually takes a while to do that, but the goal of this training is to get the brand established and start building our audience, okay, and to start capturing those leads. So we're going to talk more about that this week, but to be able to capture leads, we need to have an opt-in page, okay? Now, I've already created this page here, and I actually have a Christian counselor who's working with us as well. So I created a page here for her, but just as basically a placeholder, I have created just a simple opt-in page here where I just have this image as my background. I have 3 panels here. I added my logo. You can see 1, 2, 3 panels. It is just simply join our community of Christians who are not afraid to share the gospel of Jesus and stand up for our faith. And then for church leaders and purpose-driven followers of Jesus. And when you click here to join, you'll see that it goes to a pop-up where they can actually enter in their information, and then they will go directly to the Facebook group. Okay. But what's cool is we're not saying just join our Facebook group and then sending them to the group. What we're doing is we are trying to capture the lead here. It doesn't mean that you can't share that, but the goal here is always, always, always to capture the lead. It is great to build your community, but I like to send the info about my Facebook group once they have entered in their email address. Okay. So this is the goal here. We just want to capture the email address on a simple opt-in page. And you can see it actually looks pretty good. Okay. So once you have created the simple opt-in page, you need to go back and then connect the domain. You can do that here. Here in the domain area, or you can even click here, go directly to the domains. And what I like to do first is the www, because I want to make sure that any additional pages that I create on this website or funnel is only the home page is getting redirected when they add the www. Okay. So I'm going to choose from my drop down menu, I'm going to select this page here. Okay. Now, if I wanted any other page, I could choose that. But what I'm choosing here is the default page that this domain goes to. Okay. So I'm going to choose that there. And then once I've chosen the www, what I want to do is go to the root domain, and then I'm going to choose that homepage as well. Okay. Now, I also, every time I do that, I like to go back to the website and make sure that this is on the root domain and not the www, because if it was the www, then when it goes to this page here, if someone was to type in thechristianvision.com/Heather Knight, then it would not go to that page. It would say 404 error, and it would want them to type in the www.thechristianvision.com. Now, I know you guys love to snoop things out, but this is not, this page right here is not a working page yet. So if you do go there and check it out, just know that it's not yet a working page. But what we want to do is just build that page, make it really simple. We're just trying to step by step establish this brand, establish our goal for the business, because remember, sometimes we just start with kind of a niche or a broad idea, and as we start building our network, we find out all of the problems and we start gathering solutions for the problems that our target customer that they have. Okay. So that is a quick and dirty rundown of how to get your brand set up for success. Now we have our phone number, we have our domain name, we have everything connected to the opt-in page, we have our email sending domain connected, so we're ready to send emails, we're ready to make phone calls, we're ready to receive phone calls and text messages and emails and all of that. So we are good to go. Okay. Now, if you guys go to the knowledge base, you will see, let me bring this page in here. You will see in the branding series that I have added the steps and the records here that you will need to add just to make that more simple for you guys. Okay. So thank you so much for joining me. I will see you all tomorrow. Same time, same place. Go make your vision a reality. Bye. Thank you so much for joining us for today's training. If you have any questions, you can join us for open office hours starting right now at bridgetbartlett.com. It's free and open to everyone.